G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a very different video today. We're going to be speaking about the NFL playoffs as well as the Super Bowl prediction. I'm joined by fellow content creator BKRsport. How you going today?
Going all right, man. NFL season absolutely chugging along. We are absolutely chugging along, man. And I want you to all say it with me, Detroit Super Bowl, baby, is happening. It's happening. Hey, listen, Detroit Super Bowl is going to happen.
So just like you saw with Winston Neville a few weeks ago with the NBA, I did manage to put out the entire ladder. I went through all, whatever it is, 500 games throughout the season, predicting every outcome.
And you predicted the Chicago Bulls to win the entirety of the NBA, right?
And I have got the Chicago Bulls missing the play-in tournament.
Well, I'm going to end this video call right now.
But we're here to speak about NFL, as you said. I have gotten into, the entire ladder. I'll get off the bat. This wasn't part of the video. We're more here to speak about, our playoffs, our Super Bowl. But speaking about, those last seeds in both the AFC and NFC, I'll start off in the AFC. I have got the Denver Broncos at last. It's looking really, really bad for them, and it just seems to get worse, I think. So, I've got them 0-5 in the division for those matches and a record of 3 wins, 13 losses. And then in 15th place, the New England Patriots, I've got them with a record of 4-13, 1-5 for the division. And I've also got I know they've probably been better, but I just think against some of these other teams, it can be really tough. So a better record of 7-10 and 2-4 in the division. I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who do you have in the bottom 3 seeds for the AFC?
Well, for the AFC, you've got to go with the Denver Broncos. They're 1-5 right now. They've been they've been awful. Jerry Jeudy wants out. They're one of their main wide receivers. I know they got Courtland Sutton there. It's pretty obvious that Russ is kind of on his way out there, and their defense got absolutely torched by Miami the other week. So, it's no surprises that Denver are going to be down the bottom area of the table. And you said you want 3 teams?
Yeah.
3 teams from the AFC. All right. So, and the next team from the AFC would be the New England Patriots. I think that they don't really know what they want to do right now. They have a couple of decent players here and there, but at the end of the day, I do think that Belichick is really trying to adjust this team in a way for the future rather than the now. They don't really know. They don't know Mac Jones is the guy anymore. They're just kind of a little bit all over the shop. So the Broncos and Patriots will be down there with each other. And then, I don't think the Titans at 2-4 will stay down this area. They do have a better team, but they've got no O-line there. It's a difficult one to kind of throw out. I will go. I could make a really, really bold call here and say Bengals. I could make a really, really bold call. But I will say I'm going to go with the Jets. I think that they had such a huge kind of belief in them preseason with the Aaron Rodgers signing and whatnot. And then Dalvin Cook also signed. So they were believing he was a good running back there from Minnesota. Hasn't really worked out there, to be completely honest with you. And obviously, Rodgers went down injured. So, although they've got a really good defense, they've kind of got no offense right now. So, I will lean with the Broncos, Patriots, and Jets as those teams really down the bottom. I think Chargers will still kind of come through. And the Steelers are pretty all over the shop as well. But yeah, I'll go those 3 teams. But I could say a complete smoky of the Bengals. They just seem like they're all over the shop at the moment.
I think that's pretty tough on the New York Jets. I think, they haven't been winning too many games, but I think as you mentioned, their defense has been pretty good. So I've personally got them in 11th position with a record of 8-9, 2 wins and 4 losses against the division. But moving over to the NFC at the bottom of the table, I do have the Chicago Bears. I've got them with a record of 3-14. And I've got them with, a decent record against the division of 2-4. Into 15th position, a team that's been pretty good in offense, but besides that, really poor start to the season for the Carolina Panthers. I've also got them with the same record of 3-14. And then in 14th spot, I do have the New York Giants, who I think they've been one of the most disappointing teams this year, especially what they had last year. But I knew last year was just that kind of hype train, that really good moment for the Giants. And I think they'll have a record of 3-14 as well in the NFC.
Yeah, for the NFC, I'll go Carolina Panthers at the bottom. I don't know if they'll even win 3 games. I think you're being generous there. I think they're in a complete rebuild of their entire franchise. They're 0-6 right now. And, if I quickly went and had a look at who their upcoming games are, it definitely does not get any easier whatsoever. They do play the Texans, but like the Colts, and I still think the Texans win. The Colts have got an unbelievable amount of talent there, despite the fact that Richardson's gone down. They play the Bears, which is a good 50-50 game there, but then they've got the Cowboys, the Titans, Bucks, the Saints, Falcons, Packers, Jags, and Buccaneers. So it's like it's not the hardest schedule ever, but it's definitely not the easiest schedule either. So I think the Panthers will be lucky to win 3 games. I think they'll be in the bottom seed. And then they've got the Bears, the Chicago Bears, who are you know what? I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I'm going to say the Arizona Cardinals here. I know Kyler Murray's coming back in when he does, but I don't trust Kyler Murray at the moment. I think he'll still be injured and trying to get back into it quickly. But I think that overall the Cardinals are still a very big struggle team. When I play NFL fantasy very heavily, I decided before the season started, I'm not going anywhere near any wide receivers for the Cardinals, any backs, any offensive players at all for the Cardinals. I had no interest, and I'm pretty happy with that. There has been a couple of players here and there that have been getting some good points for fantasy, but at the end of the day, the Cardinals just aren't simply that great of a team, and they are completely rebuilding, and I just don't trust that Kyler Murray will come back in absolutely and smash it. With the Chicago Bears, who I will put in third last, I think that for me, the Giants actually have something there right this very second. And I think this is a toss-up between the Giants and Bears. Giants will be just above them or in this position. But the Chicago Bears, they've got Justin Fields, and I think they just need to really let him take over a lot more. We've seen when he actually starts running and starts to play his way, the Bears don't look too bad offensively. But when they're playing to a coordinator's kind of routine, the Bears have been a little bit down, really down, actually. Their defense hasn't been that great. Obviously, they lost Khalil Herbert, who they absolutely put a whole heap of financial investment behind. And look, I'll go the Bears here, but I could definitely see the Giants in that third last position as well. But I will still lean with the Bears. I don't think they'll be good enough to really kind of get further up than maybe 3 or 4 wins.
All right, well, let's talk about the number 1 seed. So I think it's weird because I've actually got a lot of these teams having very similar records, even, that gap between first and third. I don't think they've been all that great over in the AFC, but I still think towards the end of the year, they're really going to fire up and play a lot better. And I still think they're going to have an impressive record. So I've got the Buffalo Bills in first seed. I've got them with a record of 14-3 and a record of 5-1 in the division. And then over in the NFC with an absolutely crazy record. I don't even know how I've got this, but 15-2 for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, obviously, they've been slapped by injury, and it's a little bit worrying for them now because they're going to be really tested. But I think they're going to get the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I'll go with the NFC first here because actually, to be fair, we can go with either. But I'll go with the NFC first, and I think that San Francisco 49ers are definitely the team to beat there. Philly decent, but I still think the Philly are trying to tinker through their passing game, which we would have thought would have been better. It just hasn't been going as good as you would like. DeAndre Swift's been going really well on the ground, actually. And Philadelphia for a long time have been known as this really on-the-ground team, but also a committee is the word I was looking for there. The committee where they would utilize different. Now, DeAndre Swift has kind of turned into their guy. Obviously, I love Swift because he played for the Detroit Lions. He's been their guy. He's really worked in well. So you would have thought that with the running game being established, the passing game through A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, and Devonta Smith would have been really killing it. But it just hasn't really kind of been landing on what we would like necessarily. So for me, I've got the 49ers taking it out there. Dallas will struggle with their offense. They've got a great defense. Look, I do think at Detroit, I think they're going to be a bit better than people give us the credit for. And I think that's because of the name Detroit Lions. The name of Detroit, we've never won a playoff game in my entire life, in 29 years. We've never won a playoff game and definitely never won a Super Bowl, obviously, right? So the Detroit Lions name makes it very, very difficult to really back into Detroit Lions. I get that. So I would definitely say that Detroit will push, but I do think that the 49ers will obviously get the top seed in the end. Oh, and the AFC. Yeah, I just realized. And the AFC, I am going to go with the Buffalo Bills as well. I actually copped a lot of flack on my channel, BKRsport, when I said I thought the Bills would actually win the Super Bowl preseason. Everyone was like, oh, no way, the Bills always throw it away, which is true. But I think that the AFC this year is actually quite weak. I do. I think it's quite weak. I don't think the Chiefs are the same team that they have been previous years, but they'll still be up there for sure. The Bengals, like I said, they're a sneaky to completely fall off this year. Burrow's banged up. Jamar Chase, we don't even know if he wants to be there at this point. T. Higgins, is he getting out of there as well? There's so much going on there with the Bengals, and they just haven't been as good defensively as you'd like. The Ravens are okay. The Dolphins, they'll come a gutter, man. Like, the Dolphins have been really, really high offensive powered, but there will come a time where there'll just be a team that's defense wins championships, not offense. Defense wins championships. So they're fine. Cleveland, but I still just don't think they're going to be able to take over the Bills. And they've got the Cleveland Browns, and those are the only teams in this area that I would even put into a remote vicinity. The Cleveland Browns are strong, but they've got no Nick Chubb anymore, right? They're utilizing Jerome Ford. Overall, the Cleveland Browns are a good team, just beat the 49ers, but I still struggle to see them doing it long term. So I will go with the Buffalo Bills as well from the AFC, and like I said, the 49ers from the NFC, but the Lions are snaky.
All right, let's get into our NFL wildcards. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to tell you from both the AFC and NFC where I have those particular teams seeded and their record, and then we're going to get into who we think will win those matchups. So we'll start off in the AFC. We've both mentioned it, the Buffalo Bills in first seed, record of 14-3. I've then got the Kansas City Chiefs, my own team, with a record of 12-4. Not too bad against the division, though, where you said it's weak, with a record of 4-1. In third seed, I know you think they drop off, but I think there's a bit of a gap there. But the Cincinnati Bengals, I still think they'll be up there come the back half of the year. And I think they have been playing better recently, even though they've had a softer draw. Record of 10-7 and 4-2 against the division. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, this is a team that pre-season, I actually thought they might be in the Super Bowl. Crazy prediction, but, they had a great end to the year last year, and what's not to say that they can, get closer this year. I've got them with the same record as the Cincinnati Bengals, 10-7 for the season there, record 5-1. Fifth seed, I've got, trying to work out how that's 14-3, but anyway, I've got, apparently fifth seed is the Miami Dolphins with 14-3. I don't understand how that's worked. It's almost like the math hasn't worked there, but anyway, I've got the Miami Dolphins fifth. And then in sixth place, as you said, the AFC, kind of hard to pick, but I've gone the Indianapolis Colts. I think the Colts are going to start winning some games, and I think they've shown defensively that they can do that. It's 10-7, and then that final spot in the seventh seed, a team that you've mentioned that are okay, hard to get a read on, the Baltimore Ravens with 10-7.
Yeah, with the AFC, look, I'll give you the teams that are basically a lock. Like, I'll give you the teams that are basically a lock here. You've got the Bills, obviously, that'll top their division. You've got the Chiefs, who'll top their division. That's the two. Then for the AFC North, I'm actually going to go with I'm actually going to go the Ravens here. I will say the Ravens still get the top of the AFC North. They're a weird team, but they still should be able to top it up. And the AFC South, I will go the Jags. I think the Jags have been good. Trevor Lawrence, I was expecting a step up from this season. I believe that Calvin Ridley's been great, but I do still think that Christian Kirk is his main wide receiver there. And it's really good because they've got Zay Jones, who's been doing some great stuff, Travis Etienne and whatnot. So the winners of the divisions, winners of the division, Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, and Jags, who the only one who's not first right now is the Bills, who are going up against the Dolphins. So therefore, 5, you've obviously got the Dolphins there, and the sixth one, you'd probably lean with, you know what, the sixth, I would lean with the Chargers, who'll turn it around. I like the Chargers to turn this one around. The Raiders always fall off, man. And then I believe it's going to be between the Bengals and the Colts. No, so wait, have I said the Browns? I haven't even said the Browns yet.
I don't think you've said the Browns.
Damn, that's hard. Well, because the Dolphins are going to have to get in. So that's lock 5. That's lock 5. Maybe I take away the Chargers. I put number 6 as the Browns. That's what I'll do. Number 6 will be the Browns, or 5. Well, actually, no, I'll go 6 because Dolphins will be above them. Number 7, wild card. That's a difficult one. It's between the Colts, the Bengals, the Chargers, and maybe the Raiders. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to say Colts. I'm going to say the Colts do it. I like the Colts, even though Anthony Richardson... Actually, you know what? No, because Anthony Richardson's gone down, so they're now having to use, I think it was Gardner Minshew as their quarterback there, who is okay, but I don't think he'll be able to do it over the likes of like a Chargers. But they've got Jonathan Taylor coming back. They've got Michael Pittman. They've got They've got a decent team there. You know what? I will go Colts. I'll go out on a limb. I will say Colts go in at number 7 spot.
There you go. We've both got the Colts there, surprisingly. Over in the NFC, first seed, I've got the San Francisco 49ers. The number 2 seed, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles with a record of 13-4. Third place, Detroit. I've got
Detroit, baby.
a record of 12-5 and 5-1 in the division. I think they are a really good team, and I think it was very stupid of me to tip them to lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Fourth place, bit of a surprising one. This team, I knew they were going to be okay, but I think they've been playing really, really well. And they even got back into the game quite recently that they played just the other day. I've got the New Orleans Saints. I've got them with a record of 9-8. I've got them 3-3 against the division. I do think they can make the playoffs. Fifth, a team a lot of people wrote off. Cooper Kupp's come back from injury as well and looking, that prime that he was. And I think they're playing more as a team than they were throughout that injury period, obviously losing a lot of key players after winning the Super Bowl. The Los Angeles Rams, I always had them as, around that 5th, 6th seed, but I think they could potentially be up higher, and they've been impressive this year. Another team that's been impressive, the Seattle Seahawks. A lot of people expected them to drop off. I've got them in the 6th seed, and in the 7th seed, I've got the Dallas Cowboys with a record of 9-8 and 4-2 against the division.
I'm laughing because I can't believe the Dallas Cowboys that low, man. Like, I know you're not on the Cowboys, but like that low is something, man. Like that low is something. They've still got a really good team there. They do still have the offensive talent, just hasn't necessarily been working out. But they're 4-2, man. But that's your predictions. The NFC West winner, I will go with the 49ers. We all know that. NFC North, obviously, I'm going with the Lions there. The NFC East, I will be going with the Eagles. So they're 3 pretty simple selections there. And I do think I actually personally believe it's going to go 49ers 1st seed, Detroit Lions 2nd seed, Philadelphia Eagles 3rd seed. That's how I'm going. And then in regards to the 4th, obviously with the NFC South, it's a really difficult one. None of the teams really jump out at you. I will lean with the Saints as well. I like what you're thinking there. Alvin Kamara has been great since coming back. And I do think the Saints still have it to take it out, but the Bucs are going to be I don't rate the Falcons. I really don't. I know they've got Bijan now. They've got Desmond Ridder. And they've got they need to really utilize their offense a bit better than they have. I don't think they will be able to. I think the Saints will be able to come home stronger. But it is very difficult, this division. So, yeah, I'll go with the Saints. Bucs are going to be so close, though. But I don't think that it's going to be so close in the sense that Buccaneers are guaranteed to the playoffs because it's going to be an average division. I don't really rate anyone here from the Vikings or Packers because obviously I've got the Bears in bottom 3. I don't really rate anyone there. So in 5th position, I'll be looking at the Dallas Cowboys. I'd look at the Dallas Cowboys there for 5th. In 6th position, we'd move towards... In 6th position, I'm probably going to move towards the Rams as well. I don't mind that. I think the Rams are a sneaky option there. Love how they've been able to replace Cooper Kupp with guys like Tutu Atwell and the other wide receiver. What's his name? The other wide receiver for the Rams that came in this year. He's been really good. Can't think of his name. But anyway, been very good, the Rams, in regards to replacing their wide receiver. And now, obviously, Cooper Kupp is coming back. And then in number 7, this is going to be between teams like... Don't even look at me, Washington. There's Seahawks. I guess the Vikings might be around that point, and then you got the Buccaneers. I will go with the Bucs. I will go with the Bucs as that wild card spot. So that's how I'd probably line it up.
Yeah, you mentioned the Commanders there. I think they're playing okay, but I think they're going to fall off a cliff. I've got them with a record of 4-13 in 13th seed there. So let's get into it.
You've got them winning one more game for the rest of the season.
I guess so. According to this, yep.
They're 3-3 right now. You got them winning one more game.
They must have a tough draw. Because I've predicted every single game. Speaking of
I'm going to quickly jump into this just so I can let you know. So Washington Commanders and Giants, tough game. So let's pretend. Let's give them a win there. Let's pretend, right? Commanders and Eagles, they lose that one. Patriots, Commanders, you can kind of say 50-50 there as well. Seahawks, 50-ish, 50. Giants again, 50-50. I don't know about them only winning one more game for the rest of the season. Actually, they've got a pretty decent schedule. Besides finishing off the year against the Jets D, Niners D, and Cowboys D, I do think they can win a couple of games in the next few weeks and then die off. So I'd agree with you, but give it a couple of weeks beforehand.
All right, let's get into the NFL playoffs matches. So you've obviously given me your predictions there with the team. If you want to try and work out who would verse who, that's up to you. But I've got mine here. I know that's the hard part of the video. So over in the AFC, obviously the seeds having the week off, the top number one seeds in AFC and NFC. I would have the Dolphins heading to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars, 5th versus 4th seed. And in this, I would have the Miami Dolphins. I know you mentioned their offense is great, but, coming into the end of the year, maybe they might drop off a lot. But I think they can advance from the wild card. I would have the Indianapolis Colts at 6, playing the Cincinnati Bengals at home for Cincinnati to win, 3rd versus 6th there. The Ravens in 7th seed taking on the 2nd seed Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. I've got the Chiefs by 52. No, I've got the Chiefs winning that game. The NFC, I have a nice matchup between the Los Angeles Rams and the New Orleans Saints. One that could go either way, as you said, if the Saints go on the back end of the season run kind of thing. But I'll have the Rams winning that game. They've been there in the playoffs as well, so maybe the experience gets them further. And then you've got 6th seed NFC versus 3rd seed NFC at Detroit. The Lions, can they win their first playoff game? I think they do. I think that Detroit win this game against the Seattle Seahawks.
Now it's all.
And I think there'll be buildings on fire afterwards.
I'll be lining
them. Then in 7th seed, I've got the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Definitely, Dallas could contain Philadelphia's offense with their defense, but I think Philadelphia would win this. I think they'll want to try and avenge last year's loss and get further. So I've got them there. If you've got yours, feel free to spit them out. Otherwise, I'll get into my divisional round.
I'll get into... Oh, no, I won't go through every single game, but I can tell you who I've got being in the AFC and NFC, qualification.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so for the AFC, I've definitely got the Bills playing in the championship final. Who would I have going up against them? I'd probably be looking at... Honestly, I could see a Bills-Chiefs. A Bills-Dolphins doesn't sound too bad either. You know what? I reckon it's going to be... I reckon I would go Bills-Dolphins.
All right. I've actually also got Bills-Dolphins. I've got the Bengals playing the Chiefs and then the Dolphins playing the Bills.
You've got the Bengals playing the Chiefs
in the divisional round. I've got the Bengals playing the Chiefs and the Dolphins playing the Bills. And you know what? I've got an upset here. I've got the Dolphins knocking off Buffalo. I've got Miami defeating Buffalo, and I've got Kansas City beating the Bengals as well. In the NFC, I have got the Detroit Lions bowing out to the Philadelphia Eagles. A fantastic season, and winning their first playoff game, they should be extremely proud. And then an awesome game between the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. From memory, I'm pretty sure the Rams have the 49ers number, but I think that the 49ers have been great this season, and I think they advance to the conference championship. So yep.
No, go on. Are you saying your Super Bowl yet, or do you want me to do my NFC side?
We'll do them together. So I've got the conference championship game here, which will obviously set up the Super Bowl. And you've got the Miami Dolphins traveling to Arrowhead to play the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs obviously looking to go back-to-back, and I am a Chiefs fan. Tyreek Hill will definitely want revenge for his old club, and someone who's, up there for an MVP candidate right now, Tua Tagovailoa, will definitely make it hard for Patrick Mahomes, but the experience should get them there. I reckon the Dolphins are going to go to the Super Bowl this year. I reckon the Dolphins are going to do it. I know you think they're going to drop off, and I still think you're going to see those kind of up and down games. But when it comes to big plays, I think they have the players that can do it. I have the Dolphins defeating Kansas City at Arrowhead and advancing to the Super Bowl. I do apologize if you are a Chiefs fan. I am one myself. And then we have an NFC rematch between the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. And I have the San Francisco 49ers advancing to the Super Bowl and defeating the Miami Dolphins to win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, well, with the AFC, I don't think it's crazy, man. Like, I'm smiling because obviously you don't really think of the Dolphins being a Super Bowl team if you've been watching the NFL for long enough. But I personally wouldn't. I'd have the Bills taking that one out and going to the Super Bowl for the AFC. I just think the Bills are more of a balanced team and they've had more preparation for it. The Dolphins have kind of like not come out of nowhere, but come out of nowhere as well. So I feel like the Dolphins won't necessarily have that experience, and experience is so key when it comes to the big time matches, especially when that would be obviously in Buffalo. So yeah, I've got the Bills to go to the Super Bowl from the AFC. From the NFC, I do have the San Francisco 49ers, and I do have them taking on Detroit. However, I do have the 49ers winning this one. I do think that it's just, look, another thing, experience with Detroit is going to be one that we've not experienced. And it will be a victory of a season just to win a playoff game, as you said. And I do think that will really roll through. But I don't know if we're going to have that experience and that quality overall to get past this 49ers team that has such a good offense. Brock Purdy's been playing incredible. Christian McCaffrey, they've got Mitchell in behind that is great on the ground. And also, it's just McCaffrey's just great in the air as well. He's another wide receiver, but also the best running back in the damn well business. Plus, their wide receivers, Debo, buddy. You've got Ayuk. They've got such good George Kittle. And their team is just too overpowered. It's just too overpowered. And their defense is one of the best defense, if not the best defense in the game. So I've got the 49ers taking down the Lions. But I'm proud. I'm proud of Detroit right now. I say Detroit Super Bowl. If I've got them in the conference championship, then it means I give them a chance. But I do think that overall I have to be realistic with you guys, and I do think the 49ers will make the Super Bowl versus the Bills.
And who do you think will win that Super Bowl matchup?
I will be taking the San Francisco 49ers. I think the San Francisco 49ers are the most complete team this season. I think that overall, and people always go, oh man, it's lazy. You pick the favorite and whatnot. There's a reason why they're the favorites. Like, this is the thing people don't understand. It's like, yeah, look, I could go and give you a random pick and say, I think that the New Orleans Saints are going to fly home. Random, completely random. I think that the Detroit Lions. Point matter is that there's a reason why the 49ers are favorites. And it's because, one, they're 5-1. The only team they've lost to is a Cleveland Browns team that's still pretty damn well solid. And the 49ers will learn from that. You don't see teams go through a season 7-0, right? So it's going to be interesting. But I've got the 49ers to beat the Bills, who are a complete team, a well-rounded team, but 49ers are more of a complete team.
Well, there you go. We've both got our playoffs predictions there, being the San Francisco 49ers to win the Super Bowl. I mentioned who I actually think will win the MVP throughout this video, but there's a few different names here. These are the top 5 as well, according to at the moment. So Patrick Mahomes, who was obviously last year, not Super Bowl, well, he was Super Bowl winner, but the regular season MVP. Tua Tagovailoa, right up there, and we've seen that he is, I think, leading at the moment at this current point in time. Josh Allen is third pick for the Bills, who we think they're going to fly home and progress much further this year. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts, and Brock Purdy from the 49ers, who is definitely going to have a lot of work to do in the coming weeks without some of the stars within his game. Now, look, I've got this team going to the Super Bowl partly on the back of this player, especially if he is injury-free. My tip for the MVP is Tua Tagovailoa from the Dolphins. I think he's been, a consistent, fantastic quarterback in the NFL for years. And I think this is his chance, especially if he is injury-free, because it's unfortunate. If he gets injured now, it obviously stops this from happening. And people will be like, oh, it's another one of those seasons for him. But he is my pick to win the Super Bowl, to win the regular season MVP.
Yeah, I think for the regular season MVP, I don't actually mind if you want to go with an underdog selection of Brock Purdy. I don't actually mind that because I do believe that he's going to be able to really carry this team through, but he does have a really good team around him. So I do understand that. And I think that with Tua Tagovailoa, we kind of knew he was going to be a big thing coming out of college, and then it's just the injuries that have really kind of hounded in on him. So, I never predict injuries. I never want to see that. I think that if he's healthy, he will win the MVP for the regular season. I think Brock Purdy is an underdog shout, and I do think that Christian McCaffrey is also an underdog shout. Even though he's not a quarterback, I do think that Christian McCaffrey is an underdog shout to absolutely slap it through as long as he is not injured either.
$25 for Christian McCaffrey. I just had a look at the value.
Yeah. Well, look, he does everything. He runs the ball, he catches the ball, he scored a touchdown in like 8, 9, 10 consecutive games. Like he just scores touchdowns and he runs some massive yardage. He catches receptions from massive yardage and leads this team from the front. So if you put in Brock Purdy into the picture, you're kind of putting him into the picture because of the quarterback. But if you want to see who the real kind of heart and soul and the real key of this team for the 49ers, it is McCaffrey. So I do think that he is an underdog shout 23-1. However, yes, you would land with Tagovailoa, injury-free. Brock Purdy would be my next shout.
Perfect. Well, that pretty much wraps up the video, guys. We both have the San Francisco 49ers winning the Super Bowl.
Who's your Super Bowl MVP?
Oh, my God. Well, I guess I will go. I guess I'll go Christian McCaffrey. As good as Brock Purdy's been, I think if McCaffrey plays in a Super Bowl, I think Christian McCaffrey will probably win the Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, I'm going Christian McCaffrey as well. I think he's been incredible this year. I actually went all in, hard out on Christian McCaffrey in my fantasy this year because I knew that everyone was going for the Justin Jefferson and they will get from the Vikings, who's been great. And they're going for the Jamar Chases. I got third pick, so I lapped it up in both my leagues where I went McCaffrey, easy, didn't even think about it because this guy is a star talent, absolutely crushed at Carolina, is crushing it here at the 49ers. He's at a better team here in the 49ers. So the McCaffrey is the heart, soul, key of this 49ers team, in my opinion. I believe that he'll win the Super Bowl MVP. And like I said, he's an underdog, very heavy underdog, but a chance for the MVP of the season. He's just such an incredible player. And yeah, look, if I was to go with somebody else as well, there is the shout of George Kittle who could have a big game. I do think that as well, you've got to look towards, a defensive player in that mindset. But overall, with the type of team that the 49ers are, and especially if they can lock down the Bills. But with that being said, I would land with McCaffrey.
There you go. So my prediction is the 49ers taking on the Dolphins. BKRsport has the 49ers taking on the Buffalo Bills. We hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been a ton of fun to speak about NFL. I put out my tipping videos every week, so make sure you guys check that out. And make sure you check out BKRsport's channel. And we doing any live streams for the old Detroit Lions this season?
Yeah, I'm watching some Detroit Lions ones. I'm not really crazy into the NFL streaming because it's obviously on so early in the morning. There are people that obviously I live with, right? So I've got to think about them. But I'll be obviously cracking on with the NBA, which I'm keen for with my Chicago Bulls. But yeah, look, I watch every Detroit Lions game. I've watched every Detroit Lions game since about 2013, 2012 kind of days. And yeah, it's been a tough schedule, a tough slog to be a Detroit Lions fan. But now it is fun times, really, really fun times. But yeah, we'll be cracking with the NBA. So they'll be starting up on Wednesday, which is good.
Well, hopefully Eminem invites you over for a beer for the Super Bowl.
Eminem, bring me over, mate. Bring me over.
All right, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Comment your Super Bowl prediction. Comment your Super Bowl MVP and who you think is going to be in the NFL playoffs. And we'll see you guys later.